Let me ask you something real. Have you ever felt like life is moving, but your prayers are standing still? Have you ever done everything right and still felt like nothing is working? Because there comes a moment in every human life when logic stops working, and only trust in God's unseen plan can carry you through the storm. And I'm here to tell you today, what looks like delay is not denial. It is divine development. We live in a world where people panic when they can't control the outcome. But the truth is, control was never ours to begin with. There is a higher power, a divine intelligence, a creator who sees what we cannot see and understands what we cannot understand. And sometimes, God is not stopping your blessing. He is preparing you for it. So today's message is simple but powerful. Trust that God's working it out. Even when it doesn't make sense, even when it feels silent, even when the path looks closed, God is still working behind the scenes. Trust beyond what you see is one of the hardest lessons a human being will ever learn, because everything in us is trained to rely on what is visible, measurable, and immediate. From childhood, we are taught to trust what we can prove. If we can touch it, we believe it. If we can see it, we accept it. If we can't explain it, we doubt it. But life has a strange way of pushing every one of us into situations where sight is no longer enough. There comes a moment when your effort is strong, your intentions are pure, your prayers are consistent, but your reality still looks unchanged. That is the exact moment where trust beyond sight begins. Think about a farmer planting seeds in the ground. After he places them into the soil, he does not dig them up every single day to check if they are growing. He does not panic when the soil looks the same for weeks. He understands something powerful. Growth is happening in a place he cannot see. Under the surface, in silence, in darkness, life is forming roots. If he keeps disturbing the process, he destroys the very thing he is waiting for. In the same way, many people ruin their own blessings by constantly doubting the process just because they cannot see progress yet. What is working beneath your situation is often more important than what is visible on the surface. In daily life, this shows up in many forms. A student prepares for exams and studies late nights, but when he first sees a difficult question paper, panic rises. He starts thinking, "I'm not ready," simply because the questions don't look familiar. But preparation is not always loud. Sometimes knowledge settles quietly in your mind, and only when you stay calm does it come forward at the right moment. The student who trusts his preparation instead of his fear performs better than the one who allows panic to speak louder than belief. Or consider someone working hard in their career, sending applications, attending interviews, waiting for a breakthrough. Rejection after rejection can make them feel like nothing is moving. But trust beyond sight says, just because the door hasn't opened yet does not mean doors are not being prepared. Sometimes you are not being denied, you are being directed. What you think is delay might actually be protection from something that does not align with your purpose or growth. There are opportunities that look good, but would break you later. And there are paths that seem slow, but build you into someone strong enough to handle what is coming. Even in relationships, trust beyond what you see is essential. There are moments when misunderstandings arise. Silence feels heavy and distance feels like the end. But not every quiet season is a conclusion. Sometimes it is reflection. Sometimes it is healing. Sometimes it is alignment happening in unseen ways. If you react only based on what you feel in the moment, you may destroy something that was simply going through a temporary phase of transformation. Trust allows space for clarity to arrive before decisions are made. The deeper truth is this: what you see is only a fraction of what is real. Life is not just the events unfolding in front of you. It is also the unseen coordination behind those events. Think of an airplane flying through thick clouds. From inside, passengers may see nothing but white fog. They may feel uncertain, even uncomfortable. But the plane is still on course because the pilot is relying on instruments, not visibility. In life, trust in God is like trusting those instruments when your vision is blocked. You may not see the destination, but the direction is still accurate. And the hardest part is waiting. Waiting tests the human heart more than action ever will, because action makes you feel in control, but waiting forces you to surrender control. Yet, it is in waiting that character is built. Patience is not passive. It is powerful. It is the strength to remain steady when nothing around you looks steady. It is the ability to keep moving forward, even if the steps are small and uncertain. So when life feels unclear, when results are delayed, when answers seem silent, remember this. Your eyes are not the final authority on your life. What is happening beyond your understanding is not working against you. It is working for you. Trust does not mean everything is visible. Trust means everything is still being guided. Even when it cannot be seen, delay is one of the most emotionally challenging experiences a human being can go through, because delay speaks directly to expectation. When you expect something to happen and it does not happen on time, your mind immediately begins to create doubt, fear, and frustration. You start questioning your effort, your worth, and sometimes even your belief in a higher plan. But what most people fail to understand is that delay is not always a sign of something being denied. In many cases, delay is a sign that something is being refined, protected, and prepared in a way that your present self cannot yet recognize. Think about a seed buried in the soil. When a farmer plants it, there is no immediate sign of life above the ground. Days pass. Weeks pass. To an untrained eye, it looks like nothing is happening. But underneath the surface, something extraordinary is taking place. The seed is breaking open. Roots are stretching downward. Strength is forming in silence. If the seed were to suddenly sprout too early without developing roots, the first storm would destroy it. So nature itself understands a principle that humans often forget. Before visible growth, there must be invisible preparation. In daily life, this truth appears in countless ways. A young person graduates and applies for jobs, expecting immediate success. But instead of quick results, they face rejection after rejection. Each rejection feels like a door closing permanently. But what if those delays are not punishment? What if they are protection? What if each no is actually saving them from a position that would have overwhelmed them, or a workplace that would have drained their spirit? Sometimes the delay is not because you are not good enough, but because the environment you are destined for is still being prepared for you. A person waiting for financial breakthrough often experiences the same emotional struggle. Bills pile up, progress feels slow, and opportunities seem distant. But delay in finances often teaches discipline, resilience, and wisdom that sudden success could have destroyed. There are people who receive quick money but lose it just as quickly because they were not ready for it. And there are others who struggle for a season, develop patience, learn value, build systems, and when success finally arrives, they are strong enough to sustain it. Delay in this sense is not blocking your blessing. It is building your capacity to carry it. Even in personal dreams, delay plays a hidden role. Someone may have a vision to start a business, pursue a passion, or relocate to a better place in life. But doors do not open immediately. Plans feel stuck. Progress feels slow. In those moments, frustration whispers that nothing is happening. But behind the scenes, timing is being aligned, resources are being positioned, connections are being formed, skills are being sharpened. What feels like waiting is actually coordination happening beyond your sight. In relationships, delay can also carry meaning. There are bonds that do not develop at the pace we expect. There are conversations that take time to heal. There are hearts that need seasons to understand each other deeply. When things do not move quickly, people often assume it is the end. But sometimes delay is simply emotional processing. People are growing, learning, unlearning, and becoming better versions of themselves, so that when the connection stabilizes, it is stronger and healthier than before. Rushing what is not ready often leads to breaking what could have been beautiful. Think about transportation in real life. When a train stops at a station longer than expected, passengers become impatient. They look outside, they check time, they wonder why movement has paused. but they do not see what is happening on the tracks ahead. Sometimes another train is passing. Sometimes signals are being adjusted. Sometimes safety checks are being performed. The delay is not random. It is protective. If the train moved prematurely, it could lead to disaster. Life works in a similar way. What looks like unnecessary waiting may actually be unseen protection from harm you are not aware of. The most difficult part of delay is the silence it creates. Silence makes the mind loud. It gives space for doubt to grow. But silence is not emptiness, it is preparation. In silence, strength is formed. In silence, clarity is developed. In silence, endurance is built. Many people only celebrate visible success, but they do not understand the value of hidden seasons where nothing seems to move, but everything is being prepared. So when you find yourself in a season of delay, do not assume you are forgotten. Do not assume you are stuck. And do not assume you are behind. Life is not always about speed. It is about timing. What is meant for you will not arrive early to overwhelm you, nor will it arrive late to miss you. It arrives when you are ready to sustain it and when everything around you is aligned to support it. Delay is not rejection. Delay is preparation in disguise. Divine timing is one of the most misunderstood yet deeply powerful truths in life, because it challenges the human desire for speed, control, and immediate results. As human beings, we naturally want things to happen when we want them to happen. We measure life by clocks, calendars, deadlines, and expectations. But divine timing does not operate on human pressure. It operates on perfect alignment. And what we often call late is sometimes what was always meant to arrive exactly when life is ready to receive it. Think about how nature works. You don't plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. There is a hidden system in place that no human can rush. Seasons must pass, rain must fall, sunlight must come at the right intensity. Everything is coordinated with precision. If even one element arrives too early or too late, the entire process is affected. Yet, nature never rushes and never fails. It follows a rhythm that is unseen but perfect. In the same way, divine timing follows a higher order that is not controlled by human emotion but by perfect wisdom. In daily life, this becomes most visible when people reflect on their past. Think about someone who once desperately wanted a job, a relationship, or an opportunity that did not come at the time they prayed for it. At that moment, it felt like disappointment. It felt like doors were closing. But years later, when they look back, they realize something powerful. If that opportunity had arrived earlier, they would not have been ready for it. They would not have had the experience, maturity, or strength to handle it. What once felt like rejection was actually protection. What once felt like delay was actually preparation for a better alignment. A student, for example, may work extremely hard for an exam or admission into a desired institution. They may feel fully ready, fully prepared, and fully confident. But results do not always come immediately in their favor. At first, it feels unfair. It feels like effort was wasted. But later in life, that same student may discover that a different path opened up, one that shaped their character, exposed them to better opportunities, and gave them a stronger foundation than what they originally wanted. Divine timing often redirects us to something greater than what we originally planned for ourselves. In careers, this principle becomes even more evident. Many people wait for promotions, breakthroughs, or recognition. They feel stuck while others seem to move ahead quickly. But timing is not always about speed. It is about readiness. There are people who rise too quickly and fall just as fast because they were not emotionally or mentally prepared for the responsibility that came with their success. And there are others who rise slowly. But when they do, they remain stable, grounded, and strong. Divine timing ensures that when your moment arrives, you are not just successful, you are sustainable. Even in relationships, divine timing plays a powerful role. There are connections that do not happen when we expect them to happen. People meet at unexpected times, reconnect after years, or grow into each other after personal transformation. At one point, two people may not be compatible because they are still healing, still growing, still discovering who they are. But with time, perspective changes, maturity develops, and suddenly what was once impossible becomes perfectly aligned. Timing shapes relationships just as much as emotions do. Consider travel in real life. Imagine missing a bus or a flight by a few minutes. At that moment, frustration takes over. You feel like everything has gone wrong. But sometimes that missed journey saves you from something you were unaware of, a delay that protects you from danger, an alternative route that leads you to better outcomes, or even a meeting that changes your life in ways you could never predict. What feels like inconvenience in the moment often becomes clarity in hindsight. The hardest part about divine timing is patience. Waiting tests emotional strength more than action ever does, because action gives you a sense of control, but waiting forces you to surrender that control. It forces you to trust something greater than your current understanding. And in that waiting, something profound happens. Your mindset matures, your perspective expands, and your resilience deepens. You begin to realize that not everything is meant to happen instantly. Some things are meant to happen perfectly. There is also a hidden beauty in divine timing that people often overlook. It removes pressure from your journey. When you believe everything must happen on your schedule, life becomes stressful. You constantly feel behind, constantly compare yourself, and constantly question your progress. But when you understand that timing is already designed with wisdom, you begin to walk with peace. You stop rushing what is not ready. You stop forcing what is not aligned. And you start trusting that every step is unfolding exactly as it should. So when life feels slow, when doors seem delayed, or when answers have not arrived, remember this truth. Your timing is not random, and your journey is not forgotten. There is a greater intelligence guiding the sequence of your life. What is meant for you will not miss you, and what misses you was never meant for you at that time. Divine timing ensures that everything arrives not just when you want it, but when you are ready to receive it. Surrender is one of the most misunderstood strengths in human life because people often confuse it with weakness, failure, or giving up. But true surrender is not about losing control in despair. It is about consciously releasing control into something greater than yourself when you realize that your own strength is no longer enough. It is the moment when a human being stops fighting alone and starts trusting a higher wisdom to carry what they cannot carry anymore. In daily life, people struggle deeply with the idea of letting go. From childhood, we are taught to hold on tightly to our plans, our expectations, our outcomes. We are told that control equals success, but life has a way of showing us that control is often an illusion. There are moments when you plan everything carefully, work hard, stay disciplined, and still things do not go your way. In those moments, holding on tighter does not fix anything. In fact, it often increases stress, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. That is where surrender begins to reveal its true meaning. Think about a person driving in heavy rain at night. Visibility is low, the road is unclear, and tension rises with every mile. If the driver panics and grips the steering wheel too tightly, it does not improve visibility. It only increases anxiety. But when the driver trusts the headlights, follows the road signs, and continues moving carefully forward, even without seeing far ahead, progress becomes possible. Life works in the same way. You are not always meant to see the entire journey. You are only meant to take the next step with trust. In real life, surrender becomes powerful in situations where people face emotional pain or uncertainty. For example, someone may experience a breakup or a loss of connection they deeply valued. The natural reaction is resistance, overthinking, replaying memories, trying to fix what is already broken, or forcing answers that are not coming. But emotional healing does not begin when you hold on tighter. It begins when you accept what has happened and allow yourself to release it. Surrender in this sense is not forgetting love. It is accepting reality so that healing can begin. In careers and personal goals, surrender is equally important. There are people who work tirelessly toward a dream, sending applications, building skills, preparing endlessly, and yet doors remain closed. At some point, frustration builds up, and they begin to feel stuck. But surrender is the moment they stop forcing one single outcome and start trusting the direction of their effort. They may not get the exact opportunity they imagine, but something better aligned with their growth may appear. When you surrender your need to control the exact path, you open yourself to unexpected opportunities that logic could never predict. Even financially, surrender plays a role. Many people worry constantly about money, future stability, and survival. That worry creates pressure that affects decisions, relationships, and mental peace. But surrender does not mean ignoring responsibility. It means doing your part while releasing the anxiety about outcomes you cannot fully control. It is the difference between working with fear and working with trust. One drains you, the other strengthens you. There is also a deeper emotional truth about surrender. It creates space for clarity. When the mind is constantly fighting, resisting, and overthinking, it becomes noisy. And in noise, wisdom is hard to hear. But when you surrender, even briefly, the noise reduces. Suddenly, you begin to see situations more clearly. You begin to understand what you could not understand before. It is in surrender that perspective shifts from confusion to clarity. Think about someone holding a tightly clenched fist. The tighter the grip, the more tension there is in the hand. But when the hand opens, tension disappears instantly. Life is similar. Holding on too tightly to control expectations or outcomes creates emotional tension. But surrender releases that tension and creates peace. It does not mean everything immediately changes externally, but internally, something shifts that allows you to breathe again. In many cases, surrender is also what leads to breakthroughs. There are moments when people try everything they can think of, exhaust all strategies, and still find no solution. Then, in exhaustion, they finally let go. And surprisingly, that is often when answers appear. Not because surrender is passive, but because surrender allows space for something beyond your limited thinking to enter the situation. Even spiritually and emotionally, surrender builds trust. It teaches you that you are not alone in your journey. It reminds you that not everything depends on your effort alone. There is a greater intelligence working behind the scenes, aligning events, guiding timing, and shaping outcomes in ways you cannot always see. So surrender is not the end of effort. It is the beginning of peace. It is not giving up. It is giving over. It is not weakness. It is wisdom. And in the moments when life feels too heavy, too confusing, or too uncertain, surrender becomes the quiet strength that allows you to keep moving forward without breaking inside. What you don't see is often more important than what you do see, because human understanding is limited to what is visible, while life itself is shaped by what is hidden beneath the surface. Most people judge their reality based only on present circumstances, what is happening right now, what they can touch, what they can measure, what they can feel. But the deeper truth is that life is always working on multiple levels at once. While you are focused on the surface, something far more meaningful is often developing in the unseen background. In everyday life, this truth is everywhere, but we rarely recognize it in the moment. Think about a person planting a garden. After planting seeds, the ground looks unchanged for days or even weeks. To someone passing by, nothing seems to be happening. It may even look like failure. But beneath the soil, something extraordinary is unfolding. Roots are spreading, systems are forming, life is organizing itself in silence. The most important phase of growth is happening in complete invisibility. If the gardener becomes impatient and digs up the seed to check progress, the entire process is destroyed. What was meant to grow slowly is ruined by impatience. The same principle applies to human life. There are seasons when your effort feels invisible. You work hard, you stay disciplined, you put in energy, but results do not immediately appear. In those moments, doubt begins to whisper that nothing is working. But what you cannot see is the alignment happening behind the scenes. Opportunities are being shaped, timing is being prepared, connections are being arranged, and internal strength is being built. Just because results are not visible does not mean progress is not happening. Think about someone preparing for an important goal, like building a career or developing a skill. On the surface, it may look like repetition, studying, practicing, learning without immediate reward. But beneath that repetition, transformation is taking place. The mind is becoming sharper. Discipline is becoming stronger. Confidence is quietly forming. One day, when the opportunity arrives, people only see the final result. They see success, but they do not see the hidden years of preparation that made that success possible. In emotional life, what is unseen is equally powerful. There are times when people go through silent struggles that others cannot notice. A person may smile, speak normally, and appear fine, while internally they are processing pain, confusion, or growth. What is happening inside them is shaping their future reactions, their strength, and their wisdom. You cannot always measure healing or transformation from the outside. Some of the strongest people are those who have silently rebuilt themselves in places no one could see. Even relationships are deeply influenced by what is unseen. People often judge relationships based only on visible behavior, words spoken, actions taken, distance, or silence. But behind those visible moments are unseen emotions, unspoken fears, personal struggles, and internal growth. Sometimes distance is not absence, it is reflection. Sometimes silence is not rejection, it is processing. What looks negative on the surface may actually be a phase of emotional alignment happening beneath it. In career and financial journeys, unseen processes are constantly shaping outcomes. When someone applies for opportunities and receives no response, it may look like rejection. But unseen processes could be working in their favor. Timing aligning with a better opportunity, skills being refined through experience, or a better path forming that they cannot yet recognize. Many people only understand this later, when they look back and realize that what they thought was a setback was actually a setup for something better. Think about transportation in real life. When you sit inside a train or airplane, you only see a small portion of what is happening. You see your seat, your surroundings, maybe the sky or the track, but you do not see the complex systems working underneath. Navigation systems, engineering calculations, weather adjustments, and safety mechanisms all working together to ensure your journey reaches its destination safely. If you judge the journey only by what you could see inside, you would miss the entire structure supporting it. Life is exactly like that. What is visible is only the surface layer. What is invisible is the structure holding everything together. The challenge is that human patience is tested most by what cannot be seen. It is easy to believe when results are obvious. It is easy to stay motivated when progress is visible. But true strength is built when you continue forward even when nothing appears to be happening. And yet the most powerful truth is this: unseen work is never wasted. Invisible growth is still growth. Silent preparation is still preparation. Hidden alignment is still alignment. Just because you cannot see it does not mean it is not real. In fact, many of the most important shifts in life happen quietly long before they ever become visible. So when life feels still, when progress feels hidden, and when answers are not visible, remember this: what you see is not the full picture. There is always more happening beneath the surface than you can perceive. And often, the most important part of your journey is the part you cannot yet see, but are already living through. Pressure is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life because most people associate it only with stress, struggle, or breakdown. But pressure is not always something that is happening to break you. It is often something that is happening to build you. Just like raw material is shaped under heat, and diamonds are formed under extreme pressure, deep within the earth, human beings are also shaped in seasons where life feels heavy, demanding, and overwhelming. What feels like pressure today may actually be preparation for who you are becoming tomorrow. In everyday life, pressure shows up in many forms. It may come through responsibilities, expectations, deadlines, Financial challenges, emotional struggles, or personal goals that feel too big for your current situation. At first, pressure feels uncomfortable. It creates anxiety, restlessness, and sometimes even self-doubt. But pressure has a hidden function. It reveals what is inside you. Without pressure, potential often remains hidden. With pressure, hidden strength begins to surface. Think about a student preparing for exams. As the exam date approaches, pressure increases. There is limited time, more material to revise, and the fear of performance becomes stronger. In that moment, the student may feel overwhelmed. But that same pressure forces focus. It removes distraction. It sharpens memory. It pushes the mind to organize knowledge more effectively. Without that pressure, many students would not push themselves to their full capacity. Pressure, in this sense, becomes a force that activates discipline. In professional life, pressure is even more visible. Imagine someone working on an important project with deadlines approaching. The workload increases, expectations rise, and time feels limited. Under normal conditions, people may work at a comfortable pace. But under pressure, something changes. Focus becomes sharper. Decisions become quicker. Priorities become clearer. Pressure forces efficiency. It exposes weaknesses in planning, but it also reveals hidden capabilities that people did not know they had. Even in personal life, pressure plays a shaping role. A person facing financial challenges experiences pressure in decision-making, spending habits, and responsibility. It may feel overwhelming in the moment, but it often leads to growth in discipline, awareness, and maturity. Many people only learn the value of budgeting, saving, and long-term thinking when they are under financial pressure. Without that experience, growth and responsibility might never happen. Emotionally, pressure can come through relationships, expectations, or internal struggles. There are moments when emotions feel heavy, when decisions feel difficult, and when clarity feels far away. But emotional pressure also strengthens resilience. It teaches patience, understanding, and self-awareness. People who go through emotional pressure often develop deeper empathy for others because they have experienced internal battles that are not visible from the outside. Think about a piece of coal deep underground. Under normal conditions, it remains just carbon. But under extreme pressure and heat over time, it transforms into something extraordinary, a diamond. The same material, the same origin, but completely different outcome. The transformation does not happen in comfort. It happens under pressure. This is a powerful reminder that discomfort is often part of development, not destruction. In sports, pressure is what separates average performance from excellence. An athlete training alone may perform well in practice, but under the pressure of competition, something different happens. The heart rate increases, the crowd watches, the stakes are higher. That pressure forces mental strength, focus, and precision. Champions are not defined by the absence of pressure, but by their ability to perform under it. Even in daily decision-making, pressure plays a silent role. When choices become difficult and time is limited, people are forced to think clearly, prioritize effectively, and act decisively. Without pressure, decisions may remain delayed or unclear. Pressure pushes action. It removes overthinking and forces movement. While it may feel uncomfortable, it often leads to progress that would not happen otherwise. There is also a deeper truth about pressure. It reveals identity. When life is easy, it is difficult to know how strong you really are. But when pressure increases, your true response appears. Some people break, some people pause, and some people rise. Pressure does not create character, but it reveals it. It shows what has been built inside you over time. Think about transportation again. When an airplane flies through turbulence, passengers may feel discomfort. The shaking creates fear and uncertainty. But turbulence does not mean the plane is in danger. It means the plane is moving through changing air conditions while still staying on course. The structure of the aircraft is designed to handle pressure and turbulence. In the same way, human beings are often built to withstand more than they initially believe. The most important realization about pressure is this. It is temporary, but its impact can be permanent. How you respond to pressure determines whether it becomes destruction or development. If you resist it completely, it feels overwhelming. But if you understand it, adapt to it, and move through it, it becomes a tool for growth. So when life feels heavy, when expectations rise, and when situations feel intense, remember this. Pressure is not always a sign that something is wrong. Often, it is a sign that something inside you is being strengthened, refined, and prepared for a higher level. What feels like breaking may actually be building. Gratitude is one of the most powerful yet most overlooked forces in human life because it has the ability to completely shift how a person sees their reality without changing anything externally. Most people believe that happiness comes after they receive something, after success, after money, after recognition, after achievement. But gratitude teaches a deeper truth. Happiness is not only found in what you receive, but in how you perceive what you already have. It is the ability to see value in the present moment, even when it is not perfect, even when it is not complete, and even when it is still unfolding. In daily life, gratitude often gets ignored because the human mind is naturally wired to focus on what is missing rather than what is present. A person may have food on their table, but focus on what they cannot afford. They may have health, but focus on minor discomforts. They may have relationships, but focus on small misunderstandings. This constant focus on lack creates emotional dissatisfaction, even in situations where life is already giving enough. Gratitude interrupts this pattern. It shifts attention from scarcity to abundance, from complaint to appreciation, from frustration to awareness. Think about something as simple as waking up in the morning. Many people treat it as routine, something automatic. But waking up itself is a gift that is not guaranteed for everyone. The ability to breathe, to see light, to feel another day of life is something deeply valuable. When a person begins their day with gratitude instead of stress, their entire mindset changes. Instead of rushing into problems, they begin with awareness of what is already working in their life. That small shift creates emotional strength that carries through the rest of the day. In real life situations, gratitude has a powerful impact on mental resilience. For example, a person going through financial struggle may feel overwhelmed by what they do not have. Bills may feel heavy, opportunities may feel limited, and progress may feel slow. But when that same person shifts focus to what they still have, skills, support, experience, or even the ability to try again, the emotional pressure reduces. Gratitude does not remove the challenge, but it changes how the challenge is experienced. It turns hopelessness into possibility. In relationships, gratitude is equally transformative. Many people begin to take others for granted over time. They focus more on flaws than appreciation. They notice what is wrong instead of what is right. But when gratitude is present, relationships become stronger. A simple acknowledgement of effort, kindness, or presence can change emotional dynamics completely. Instead of expecting perfection, people begin to value effort. Instead of focusing on distance, they begin to appreciate connection. Gratitude strengthens emotional bonds that criticism slowly weakens. Think about someone working hard toward a goal. They may not have reached success yet, but they have gained experience, discipline, and growth along the way. Without gratitude, they may only see how far they still have to go. With gratitude, they begin to see how far they have already come. That recognition builds confidence. It reinforces motivation. It prevents burnout. Gratitude does not slow progress. It sustains it by keeping the mind emotionally balanced. Even in failure, gratitude plays a surprising role. Failure is often seen as something negative, something to avoid or regret. But when a person practices gratitude, even failure becomes meaningful. It becomes a lesson, a direction, a form of guidance. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? They begin to ask, what can I learn from this? That shift transforms pain into wisdom. Many of life's strongest people are not those who avoided failure, but those who learn to be grateful for the lessons hidden within it, in health and well-being. Gratitude also has a deep effect. A person may focus on small physical issues and forget the larger reality of being able to move, work, think, and live independently. When gratitude is present, awareness of health itself becomes a source of peace. Instead of focusing only on what is not perfect, the mind begins to appreciate what is functioning well. That shift reduces anxiety and increases emotional stability. Even in comparison with others, gratitude acts as a powerful protection. In today's world, people constantly compare their lives with others through social media, careers, and achievements. This comparison often creates feelings of inadequacy, but gratitude breaks the cycle of comparison by bringing attention back to personal progress and personal blessings. It reminds a person that every journey is different, every timeline is unique, and every life has its own value. Think about nature itself. A tree does not complain about growing slowly. A river does not compare itself to another river. They simply exist in their own flow, their own timing, their own process. Gratitude allows human beings to return to that same natural state of acceptance and peace. It reduces unnecessary pressure and brings emotional balance. The most powerful truth about gratitude is this: it does not change what you have. It changes how you experience what you have. Two people can live in the same situation, but one feels stress while the other feels peace. The difference is not the situation, it is perspective. Gratitude is that perspective shift that turns ordinary moments into meaningful ones. So when life feels incomplete, when progress feels slow, or when expectations feel unmet, remember this: gratitude is not about ignoring challenges, it is about recognizing blessings within challenges. It is the ability to see that even in imperfection, there is still value, still growth, and still something worth appreciating. Movement is one of the most powerful principles of life, because nothing meaningful ever changes while you remain completely still. Many people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling, or the perfect clarity before they begin. But the truth is simple and undeniable. Clarity often comes after movement, not before it. Life reveals itself to those who are willing to take steps even when the full path is not visible. In daily life, people often confuse waiting with preparation. They believe that more thinking will lead to better outcomes, or that more time will automatically create better conditions. But time alone does not change anything. Action does. Even a small step forward creates momentum, and momentum creates direction. Without movement, even the best intentions remain only ideas in the mind. Think about a person standing at the edge of a dark road at night. They cannot see the entire path ahead, only the part illuminated by the nearest light. If they refuse to move until they see the whole road clearly, they will never begin the journey. But if they take one step forward, the light moves with them, revealing the next step and then the next. Life works exactly the same way. You are not always meant to see everything in advance. You are meant to trust the process of moving forward. In real-life situations, this principle becomes especially important in careers and personal growth. Many people delay starting a business, learning a skill, or pursuing a dream because they feel unprepared. They wait for confidence to arrive first. But confidence is not the starting point. It is the result of movement. A person becomes confident by doing, not by waiting. Each small action builds experience, and experience builds belief. Without movement, confidence has nothing to grow from. In education, movement is equally important. A student may read, plan, and think about studying, but real learning happens when they actively engage with the material. Writing, practicing, solving, and applying knowledge creates understanding. The difference between someone who knows something and someone who masters something is not intelligence alone. It is action repeated over time. Movement turns knowledge into ability. Even in emotional life, movement plays a healing role. Many people remain stuck in the past, replaying old memories, holding on to pain, or fearing new experiences. But healing does not happen in mental stillness. It happens through emotional movement. Talking, expressing, trying again, opening up slowly, and allowing new experiences all create emotional progress. When a person moves forward emotionally, even slowly, they begin to release what was holding them back. Think about a river. A river remains clean and alive only because it flows. If water stops moving, it becomes stagnant. The same principle applies to human life. When thoughts, efforts, and energy stop moving forward, stagnation begins. Movement keeps life fresh, active, and evolving. Even small progress prevents emotional and mental stagnation. In financial growth, movement is also essential. People often wait for perfect conditions before investing, saving, or starting something new. But financial growth rarely comes from waiting. It comes from consistent action. Even small financial steps, repeated over time, create stability. It is not sudden large actions, but consistent movement that builds long-term results. Without movement, opportunities remain invisible because they are never pursued. In relationships, movement is what builds connection. Relationships do not grow by themselves. They grow through effort, communication, understanding, and presence. When people stop investing time or energy, relationships naturally weaken. But when there is continuous movement, small gestures, honest conversations, shared experiences, relationships deepen and strengthen. Even small actions like checking in, listening, or supporting someone can shift emotional distance into closeness. Think about physical fitness. No one becomes strong by thinking about exercise alone. Strength is built through repetition, movement, and consistency. Each small effort adds up over time. The body responds to action, not intention. Life follows the same rule. What you repeatedly do shapes what you become. One of the biggest illusions in life is the belief that you must feel ready before you start. But readiness is not a feeling. It is a result. Many people only feel ready after they have already begun. The first step may feel uncertain. The second may feel uncomfortable. But as movement continues, clarity begins to form. Action creates understanding that thinking alone cannot provide. Even fear loses its power through movement. Fear grows in stillness because the mind fills silence with imagination and doubt. But when you move forward, fear begins to shrink because reality replaces imagination. You discover that many of the things you were afraid of were not as powerful as they seemed in your mind. The deeper truth is this: life rewards movement, not hesitation. Progress is not found in endless thinking, but in consistent doing. Even imperfect action is more powerful than perfect planning that never begins. Movement turns possibility into reality. So when life feels uncertain, when the path is unclear, or when you feel stuck, remember this: you do not need to see the entire journey to begin it. You only need enough courage to take the next step. Because every step forward creates light, every action creates direction, and every movement brings you closer to where you are meant to be. Patience is one of the most powerful forces in human life. Yet it is also one of the most difficult to practice, because everything in our modern world encourages speed, instant results, and immediate satisfaction. People want answers quickly, success quickly, healing quickly, and progress without delay. But life does not always operate on human urgency. It operates on process, timing, and development. Patience is not about doing nothing. It is about trusting the process while doing what is necessary, even when results are not immediately visible. In daily life, patience is tested in many simple but powerful ways. A person may work hard for something, whether it is a career opportunity, a personal goal, or a financial breakthrough, and still not see immediate change. In those moments, frustration begins to rise. The mind starts asking, why is this taking so long? But patience teaches a different perspective. Not everything that is delayed is denied, and not everything that is slow is failing. Some things take time because they are being built properly. Think about a seed planted in the soil. After it is planted, there is no visible sign of growth for a long time. If a person becomes impatient and digs it up to check progress, they destroy the very process of growth. The seed needs time in darkness before it can ever reach light. In the same way, human growth often begins in unseen stages. What is happening internally is more important than what is visible externally. In real life, patience is essential in career development. Many people expect success soon after starting something new, but real growth takes time, experience, learning, and repeated effort. A person may work for months or even years before seeing significant results. Without patience, they may quit just before progress begins. But those who stay consistent often discover that success was not absent. It was simply under development. In education, patience is equally important. Learning is not instant. It requires repetition, understanding, mistakes, correction, and practice. A student who is patient with themselves understands that confusion is part of learning. They do not give up when something is difficult. Instead, they continue practicing until clarity comes. Without patience, even intelligent minds struggle because they expect understanding without process. Even in personal growth, patience plays a vital role. A person trying to improve their habits, mindset, or emotional strength cannot change overnight. Growth happens step by step. There are moments of progress and moments of setback. Without patience, setbacks feel like failure. But with patience, setbacks are understood as part of development. Every effort contributes to long-term transformation, even if it is not immediately visible. Think about nature again. A mountain does not form in a day. It takes millions of years of pressure, movement, and transformation. Yet, when we see it, we only see its final form, not the long process behind it. Human life works in a similar way. The strongest people are often those who have gone through long seasons of waiting, learning, and building strength slowly over time. In relationships, patience is one of the strongest foundations. Every relationship goes through phases of understanding, misunderstanding, growth, and adjustment. People are not perfect, and emotions take time to align. Without patience, small issues can become big conflicts. But with patience, space is created for understanding and healing. It allows people to grow together instead of breaking apart during difficult moments. Financial growth also requires patience. Many people expect quick success, but financial stability is usually built slowly through consistency, discipline, and time. Small decisions repeated over long periods create strong results. Without patience, people may make rush decisions that lead to instability. But with patience, financial progress becomes steady and sustainable. Even emotional healing requires patience. Pain, loss, disappointment, or change cannot be healed instantly. Healing is a process that unfolds gradually. Some days feel better, some days feel heavier, but over time, healing takes place. A patient heart understands that healing is not linear. It moves in stages. Without patience, people may try to rush healing, which only deepens emotional struggle. Think about driving at night. When visibility is low, you do not see the entire road at once. You only see what is in front of you. If you panic because you cannot see far ahead, you stop moving. But if you trust the headlights and move carefully forward, the road reveals itself step by step. Life works in the same way. You are not always meant to see the full journey. You are meant to move with patience through what is visible now. One of the most important truths about patience is that it protects you from premature decisions. Many mistakes in life happen not because people lack ability, but because they lack patience. They rush decisions, quit too early, or change direction before the process has time to work. Patience gives space for clarity to develop before action is taken. Patience also builds inner strength. It teaches emotional control, mental stability, and resilience. A patient person does not panic easily. They understand that time is part of the process. This inner calm becomes a powerful advantage in life because it allows better thinking, better decisions, and better outcomes. The deeper truth is this: patience is not waiting passively. It is trusting actively. It is continuing your effort while allowing time to unfold results. It is believing that what is meant for you will not be lost just because it is not immediate. So when life feels slow, when answers are delayed, or when progress feels invisible, remember this: Patience is not the absence of progress. It is the quiet foundation on which all real progress is built.